have to hold it, but it's hard not to because we're man. But when you're talking to someone that don't know you, you ain't never gonna see this person again. You're more apt to talk to them and be open with them than you are with those that are, those that love around you. So I guess that would be the best answer to that statement. But I agree with you to a certain extent.
Yes. So I think who wants to go next? I don't remember who.
Venus wants to go next. So I'll wait after Venus, though.
I appreciate you, Drip King. So, hey y'all.
You're welcome.
Hey Venus, what's going on, sis?
Okay, real quick, a couple of things. I think people who are not familiar with therapy at all, like black people often do, have this expectation of a therapist is supposed to absolutely 100% fix you or it's a scam. First of all, I'm going to
Mhm.
start there. The expectation is like ridiculous. Therapists are supposed to help you, provide you with tools, right? Ways of thinking, ways of reframing things, help you to understand things better, so you can navigate better, right? They're not like a genie who can just magically fix you. So I don't know. There's that. Also, like Bolo said, like a judgment free place, a neutral party, so that you can feel even comfortable enough to address some of those things that, let's be honest, for some people, there's too much shame attached to some things that they will never mention them to anybody, but they will secretly eat away at them, right? And they'll go through life like that. The
Yeah.
other thing is, I don't like the comparison to like our older generations who didn't have therapy, right? Because if we just go back like two generations, like my grandparents' age, we did have a lot of drinking, um, a
Mhm.
lot of abuse of women, right?
Yeah.
A lot of inappropriate sexual behavior between like big grown men marrying little ass girls, right? A lot of other shit going on. Excuse my language. A lot of other stuff going on that was
Mhm.
quote unquote normal, right? But you're gonna look at them and be like, well, they didn't need therapy. No, they absolutely did. They needed it more than anybody.
Thank
And
you.
then and then being raised under the people who think that way, you think those are the people who are gonna help me with therapy?
Hmm.
And to their defense, they're being they're coming up in such a hostile society, right? Because like anything we consider racist today, like they actually went through, way worse. So they're coming up in that. All they know is survival mode, and that's not their fault, but that's what it
Mhm.
is. That right. So they have a lot of vices and stuff because they're just trying to get through that.
Right.
So how are they the people that we should? No, they needed therapy too. It just wasn't a thing.
Mhm.
This is why when like and my dad is one of them. When the soldiers came back from the Vietnam War with the PTSD thing at that time, they didn't even know what to do about that. They didn't even understand it.
Right.
So just because a thing wasn't happening doesn't mean it wasn't needed. Like mental health
Thank
developments
you.
have like started to like increase over time, right? As people start to understand humans are a bit more complex than what we think, or now we understand the brain a little bit better. So I don't know. I just think those comments from Black people sometimes really frustrate me because it is a level of ignorance, right? Like I think we don't take enough time to understand things before we want to shun something. And that is specifically something I see with Black people. As soon as they don't understand something, they don't care to, they don't take the time to, they're just going to tell everybody that is dumb and you don't need it. And it's a scam. Like, I don't understand that.
Right.
But let me ask you this,
Right.
Venus. Let me
So
ask
with
you this
this,
question, Venus. Let me ask you
And
this.
can I go after you, Bolo? Because I'm the one who brought up the
I-
comparison of
this is just
people
a
in the past.
this is just a statement to give Venus a different
Oh,
perspective.
sorry. Can I have my go? Sorry.
When someone doesn't understand something, of course they're going to look at it with skepticism. So I
mhm.
understand that you get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. Please don't, because there's going to be so many people that have lack of understanding of certain things, that see things from their bubble, and it's going to frustrate you. And in this spiritual war that you talk so often about, that we know that we're in, it's going to tire you. And the one thing I don't want you to get is tired. So you have to understand where they are, right? If someone doesn't understand, they don't understand. Our job is to put the information out there. And if they take it, they take it. If they don't, they don't. We mark them. So the one thing I don't want you to do is be frustrated, because we're going to run into a lot of them, Venus, a whole lot of them. So, with ignorance comes fear, right? False evidence appearing real, opposed to facing everything and rise. Nah, I'm not doing that. Have you ever done it? No. So then I'm trying to understand, why are you so against it? Nah, because all right. You know what? I'm gonna leave you alone. So I'm just saying for your thought process, please don't let it frustrate you, because we're gonna run into it a whole lot as believers. A whole lot.
And Bolo, if you don't mind, because I'm the one who brought up the comparison of our forefathers, right? Obviously, they needed therapy. I never said they didn't need therapy, right? That was under the example that I was using of one fighting for one's rights. And the point that I was making was that, I mean, it's reputedly understood that our ancestors had more emotional fortitude to endure what they were undergoing, be it slavery, be it Jim Crow, being civil rights movement. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that therapy isn't needed. And look how amazing our ancestors were during these times, and they didn't have therapy, so we don't have to get it. No, that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that even though we can see like some of the examples that Venus had projected of people being abused, alcoholism, all type of stuff like that, problems that was going on in our community during them times, that's apparent. But what's also apparent is that they had a particular emotional fortitude that's lacking in our community of this generation. So that's why I was bringing up that example.
Why do
Hey,
you
can I
say
just
that
jump in
though?
here real quick?
So can I
Wait.
say this real quick? So, and I know I keep bringing up Papa Thomas. Oh, they triggering me. So he said there is no real way to know what's going on in the human brain, and no real way to know human potential.
Have you
What was
taken
your
a psychology course, Poppy? Like, how do you? I don't understand these blanketed comments when there are people
What's
who
that?
dedicated like decades and decades of research to just the brain.
What
Hey,
Like,
this?
can
That's
I
what I'm
jump
I
in
don't
here real quick?
understand.
Oh,
you
sorry. Can
you
I have my go? Sorry.
Let young
spiritual
Hey,
Riaz.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but young Riaz has been waiting. But to what
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Dark Lake was saying,
Okay.
Dark Lake, here's the thing to
Okay.
that, which is true. They had no choice because it wasn't available, right? So go ahead, young Riaz.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair. That's
Then
fair.
I'm gonna
I was
bring this
just saying,
What's up, Riaz? Nice to finally meet you.
same here, man. Oh, sorry. What was that, Mark? Continue what you're gonna say to me, and then I'll say what I gotta say. Sorry, I'm just waiting up. What are you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say go ahead. Then I want Brendan to go.
Okay. So yeah, I get you on that though. The canceling the therapy stuff, I feel like it kind of works though, because it's not healthy to keep all that stuff in. That's what I was encouraged to do. I was encouraged to basically let that go though, let it all out though, and it actually helps though a lot. And basically in that time though, to his point as well though, in that time though, it's not that they didn't go seek it out. It's also in that time, the way they approached, that type of stuff, the way we do in their time, it ain't right though. But that's just how they fought though. They fought just, to keep pushing it through and just let, do that though. It ain't right though, but that was what is in their time though. And I can see what you mean though. I don't agree with that though, but I'm just trying to understand why though.
Was that a question to me, young Riaz?
No, that was just a statement though,
Okay.
but that was a statement. But anyways though, for me though, I've done that though. For me, like I've literally recovered not one time, 13 times actually.
Okay.
Wow.
From what?
I understand you,
From too
Riaz.
much things though.
Understand.
Oh yeah, I get you that. I can tell you too much things though, man. It's long the list though, actually.
Okay.
Thing when I was younger, first it was identity crisis. Basically, I think it was skin tone insecurity. I think then you had depression, anxiety, and other stuff though.
Yeah, I understand.
Can I
I
ask you
even
a
went through
question?
burnout too. So
Yes, I want to ask you something.
go
Mo,
ahead.
is that okay briefly? Is that okay, Mo?
Yeah,
Of
Yeah, go
course.
ahead, and then it's my turn.
go ahead,
Okay,
those.
all right. I just, all right, I'll make it brief. So, Riaz, first question, if you don't mind me asking,
Yeah,
how how old are you, or what is the age range? 20s, 30s, what?
23.
Okay,
I'm 23 slowly. So yeah.
all right. So, from as far back as you can remember, please give me like a nutshell. Please just give me like a confined statement of it.
As far back as I
What
remember, as
what
well, I
what
think
exactly what exactly what exactly do you feel as if that you are trying to accomplish to be your full self? Like if you could see yourself at your best form, what would Riaz's life look like in a nutshell, so we can make sure brother Brandon gets in there and pass the floor? And thank you so much, Mo.
okay.
I appreciate you.
So
Oh,
basically,
that's a really good question.
oh, good question though, actually. I think though, looking far
Really
back
is.
though, hmm?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was adding that it really is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyways, though, I was just about to say though, yeah, kind of the way I saw it as far back though when I was younger and stuff like that though, like I probably, you know, I probably didn't really fit in. People actually had expectations though because of what I've got and stuff like that. But then I think the one person to truly believe in me first was my mother first though. Not my father didn't believe. My father always believed. It's just that, both of them two different ways though. Like in an emotional sense, my mother was the first one to believe in me, to push me and everything like that though. And basically from that I just basically, kept going though. And also, though, when I actually hit those types of things, though, as well, yes, I did speak to other people.
Riaz. We want to pass the floor.
Sorry,
What
sorry.
does best you look like when you
That's it.
envision the ultimate Riaz, like you at your ultimate form? What does it look like?
Oh,
Like your best. Like
oh,
where
the
do you
best version of. Okay, I think I understand now. The best version of me is to basically understand me, though, because sometimes I'm starting to feel like there's pieces of me that I don't know, and the best version of me is to fully find out more about me, though. It's not just in a faith-based sense, though. Literally, a lot of things about me, man, to truly discover what I really am, though. Because I grew up very confused, though. That's how I felt, though.
Thank you, Riaz, and I really appreciate your response. I don't want to hold the floor up, brother Brandon. I believe that you wanted to say something. Respect to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, y'all. I'm Brandon Nesbitt from the dirty South Carolina.
Hey
Been
Brandon.
following, been following y'all all up on Freezy Panel. Some of y'all girls on there looking good in a government check. And basically, what I've been, I jumped on the panel and you guys were discussing depression, and I felt prompted to, you know, elucidate my various experience with depression. I've been, I was suicidal for 20 years, and I got over that through, cognitive therapy. So basically, what happens in depression is it's a lack of neural firing in the prefrontal cortex of your brain. And one person said something about being around other people, which is catharsis. Catharsis is, a therapeutic means for the brain to heal through talking with other people. And I think that's poignant that that person mentioned that. Um, but yeah, this is one of the things we got to do in America is we got to take mental health seriously. Like,
Yes.
let me address therapy real quick because I heard a sister Venus talk about that. Venus, I
Mhm.
want you to understand that a lot of people, when they don't understand something or they don't believe in something, without any kind of subs- substantial evidence. It's an appeal to incredulity. And that is a logical fallacy that a lot of people do when they just simply don't believe things because they don't have enough information on it. So it's basic. That's, that's like that's like one of the top 10 logical fallacies that people tend to make. But yes, therapy. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to get scientific on, phenomena like, various neurological issues. The APA, the American Psychiatric Association, says that 75% of people notice considerable benefits from therapy. And that was what healed me. I finally got free from all of my depressive episodes through therapy. And therapy is a scientific process of healing the brain. I mean, these people, and let me address another person that was saying something in the chat. You are not professionally qualified to diagnose yourself. I love what Bolo said on that. I was jumping in the air. Well, I was actually in the bathtub, so I was splashing waters and all over the place. But
TMI, my G. Like,
my bad. My bad.
You could have just told us you was happy. You could have
my bad.
Was you watching the Truman
Show?
Show?
Good, my G.
No,
Polo, that's your people's. That's your people's, Polo.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I've, sometimes I like to get a little silly in my vignettes, but that's this, basically just to wrap it all up. Yeah, I think I've addressed everybody's points. Yes, therapy is something we got to take serious. Don't let people tell you that therapy doesn't work because of arguments of incredulity. And, we're not professionally qualified to diagnose ourselves. That takes years. These psychologists study 4 years of brain anatomy, psychology, sociology, and I'm not even going to cover all the subjects that they study, but yes, they are very well trained to diagnose and heal our physical and mental issues, because we have to understand the brain is physical. So these issues are physical as well. So
Brandon, may I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and I'm so sorry to cut you off, man. My phone was. I just had to ask. I'm so curious, man. You said that you were suffering through depression for 20 years, right?
20 years, yes.
And if I hope this isn't too. I'm not prying too much. This ain't too personal. But how many years has it been since you've been free of that?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, man, that you're a warrior, bro. 20 years, bro, and you found a way to get out of that, man. That's what I want to say. But I wanted to ask you, right? Was therapy the first step to getting out of that? Was it the first step, or like the third step, or?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I, committed my last suicidal attempt, they shipped me off to the hospital and straight into therapy. So yeah, I would definitely say, adhering to a scientific process for healing the brain is integral to proper mental health and brain functioning.
And this is the last question. Thank you for sharing this. But after your therapy, your experience, right?
Yeah.
Were there like follow-up things that you had to do after your therapy?
Man, that is a fantastic question. Therapy. Okay, so healing your brain includes a variety of things. Of course, God has to heal you. And faith without works is dead. So you just can't say, God, heal my brain. I can't think right. I'm depressed. I got all this. No, you can't just do that. Faith without works was dead. You got to work on it, and it takes years. I can't say I'm 100% healed because I still have some episodes, but it's way better than it was. I don't feel that overwhelming sadness to where I can't get out the bed no more. So
I'm so proud of you.
Hey, can I say
Thank you, Brandon, for
that
sharing, man.
hey, real quick before we get too far, man? Salute to
Yeah.
Freezy and the man. Salute to Freeze, man.
Oh shoot, Freezy, is that you,
Yes,
Freezy?
Man, salute
Yeah.
to Freeze,
thank
brother.
you for
What's,
joining the
what's,
league. So I
appreciate
do
that,
want to.
Smitty. What's up, Doc Lake?
Yo,
Okay.
what's good, man? It's been forever, bro. I hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah, you too.
Momo,
man.
go
What's up,
ahead.
Yo, Freezy, you the man.
So
I just had
again, Brandon, like I'm so thankful to God that you chose to hold on. And
Yeah,
that,
I would have been. Yeah,
that
it
you
was.
held on, that you're doing better, you know?
I would have joined the list of 6,000 men yearly that kill themselves. So that's another. Most of the people that kill themselves are white men. So I've seen a lot of white men kill themselves, and it's been horrible. So me, I'm a statistical anomaly. It's probably because I was raised in I was raised upper class, but it is what it is. But I made it out.
Well, here's the here's the blessing to it.
Hey, hold on, Bolo, real quick. Hold on, real quick.
Yeah.
Before we go too far, because I really want to just hone in. I'm gonna say this and shut up. When he said the whole healing part, I really want us to recognize something, okay? There are two sides of this. There is aspects of our lives that we will be able to actually heal from. And there are some things you will never be able to heal from. You will only be able to learn how to cope with it for the rest of your life. Prime example, my accident. I won't heal from that, bruh. But what I can do is I can learn how to move and cope, and I can keep my head in a certain level state to where I don't let what took place overtake what it is that I have before me. You see, so I just want to make sure that we get that. We need to recognize that there are just some things that some of us will never heal from, and something. It's okay to say that.
Well,
And it should be.
something, Smitty. What we have to understand is therapy is like coaching, dog. You know what I'm saying? There are some chapters in your life that are going to be closed happily, and there are some that are going to be closed unhappily. The point of the matter is that the chapter is closed. And a lot of the times, with those that suffer with mental illness, depression, PTSD, there are chapters that are not closed and they seep into other portions. It's like a leak, right? If you don't deal with that leak, it's not going to stay in the kitchen. It's going to bleed into other facets of the house. And that's what depression happens, right? It bleeds into other facets. So it's kind of like being a coach. What these therapists do is they give you the coping skills and the mechanisms to kind of figure out where you're at and kind of how to maneuver and find north, right? Because at the end of the day, we were moving without a GPS system. So at the end of what they do is they, a lot of the times they retrogress you into understanding that you're in a safe place. So you don't need to be afraid, right? And they're just there as a guide. They're basically a mirror in certain places in your mind's eye that you were afraid to go to by yourself. And sometimes you just need a third party to take you there and just say you're safe. So
Right.
that young man that you were at 8, that older man that you are at 35, that you can retrogress and go get that young man at 8 and say it's okay. Let's walk together, and you bring them up to the 35-year-old, and you're able to close it and move forward and learn from it. That's what it is. It's nothing more, nothing less.
Now, brother Bolo, to land it on that part, and I appreciate you, black man. Look, don't you know how when we say it's some things you just need to take with you to the grave, as far as like secret wise. Now, usually when we say take it to the grave, that's secret. It's not just that. You know what else we take to the grave with us? Our experiences. Everything that we ever seen, everything that we ever had to go through.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I want to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to finish this one.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Respect to you, black man. So, Bolo, there are just some things that some of us for whatever reason, and maybe it's never to be explained, and I won't be long-winded, but some things are to be taken to the grave, all the way down to our experiences. And I mean that in the sense of what it is that we go through. Not everything you're going to get the full answers of while you're here. Not everything you're going to be able to accomplish while you're here. Not everything you're going to be able to heal from while you're here. And the best thing for you to do is to recognize that very gruesome, harsh reality if you want to have any form of peace while maintaining your sanity in this life while in your physical vessel. See, the best way that I maintain peace is to know that there will be some things that I just might not accomplish before I go. There will be some things I just might not be able to understand before I go. And you know what? I came into peace because I just recognized that it's okay. That's okay. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
And that's a good point. That's a very good point to know that.
And can I say this really quick? That what you're saying is fact. Because my dad lost his mom at 16. And I often ask, like, so how did you feel, or how do you feel now that you're 73? He said that's just something that you'll never ever get over, but you just learn to move on and live through it. So yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, Mo up. Can I add to your point?
Yes, I think
Okay.
Bolo wanted to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Or
Bo.
I
Go
don't
ahead, boss man.
No, may I share next, please? Can I share? I missed
Yeah,
what
go
you
ahead,
And
said.
then
boss man.
84, and then ADS is still here. Then Freezy.
Yeah, what I was just going to say is that, again, there's different types. Blue Jay said a whole lot of stuff in the chat. That's awesome. Therapy is
Yes.
not just about talk therapy. There's different types of therapies and different types of illnesses. Cats got to understand that this is deeper. What we're doing is we're giving you a surface conversation pertaining to it, that we're trying to break the stigma of those that may need it, right? So that's important. So a lot of the times, and again, I don't like using these convoluted examples, but we have to. When you have a pain in your tooth, you go to the dentist just to check it out. Just to check it out. It may not be nothing, but you err on the side of precaution, right? Because you have a pain. How much more your brain? How much more your brain? And it's crazy to me that we're getting so much pushback. But what I want to do is keep the conversation on the stage, opposed to it being in
Okay.
the audience,
Got you.
because we get caught up into defending what therapy needs to be, opposed
Okay,
to
because I'm
saying
the chat
this is what.
queen.
Yeah,
Like I interact with the chat.
we need to just push the issue of, if you need it, it's there. Don't be ashamed to use it. It's a tool. It's a vessel
Right.
to get you where you need to be if you use it correctly.
I agree. So I think 84 was next.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Buckle up, because here we go, baby. Here we go. So y'all talking about men's mental health, and why don't men, why is that such a big thing, and why don't we have a safe space, and yada yada yada, and why we need therapy and everything else? I'll just break it down completely into different factors. We're gonna go 3 different ways, and then matter of fact 4 different ways, because I'm gonna even land in the social media space. You know why we don't have why mental health is such a big thing, and why we don't have a safe space? I'll just break it down just simply for you. When it comes to our families, right? And this just lived experience. My own father still has not apologized for abandoning all his kids, and it's been 41 years. No
Wow.
apologies. No apologies. Right? Instead, he asks us for sneakers, money, and a bunch of dumb stuff. Right? Because he believes he's the king of everything. So that's one. Our own families don't give us that safe space. Our own families don't take accountability for the things they do. Right? When I had my health challenges back in the fall and was using a walker, ain't nobody come to see me. Anybody come down here to cook me no meal? Nothing. Nothing at all. I was doing laundry off of a walker, bro. Straight up. Straight up. You know why? Because that's how men are treated. That's how we treat it. Even by our own family. This is a fact. I lived this. When it comes to other men, you know why we don't have a safe space with other men? Because there's too much jealousy. There's too much hatred. You mad because you know this dude is
Wow.
Michael and you Jermaine and Tito.
Yeah.
You ain't the guy. You mad because you Pippen and Horace Grant and you not Jordan. You mad at him. Let him be him. Don't you know that the dude that's the leader, the dude that has that wears the crown, his head is the heaviest? He's dealing with the most.
Yes.
But you're so
Exactly.
hateful and angry, you're just mad at him. And I'm sorry I'm being passionate about this, but damn, y'all making me say it for a minute. And I've been thinking all these things and been dealing with all these things personally as well. Like this is real talk. This ain't just me just speaking through my whatever. Right? And why don't men go to other women? Right? I know women, y'all sometimes. Why don't they come to us? Just we'll love them or whatever. And a lot of times too, we can't come to y'all because a lot of times y'all have this fixated thing in your mind of what y'all believe a man is. You have this fantasy in your mind that a man should be this way and that way. He needs to be this tall. He needs to be like this and like that, and he needs to make a certain amount of money. So a lot of times, brothers like, man, F it, forget it. I'm not even going to them at all. And we see it in the social media space as well. We see all these things in social media space, right? Especially social media spaces that we're in right now. We totally see it. And you know why we see it, right? We can't even do in this space. We can't even sit back and let everybody just share and then have all the questions and all the good thoughts and all that. We can't even do it. You know why I love that lady right there? That's the avatar. I'm gonna tell you why I love her so much. I love her so much because as my sister, she showed me that being in the social media game, it ain't about me. It wasn't even about her. It was about giving a message and loving people, truly loving people, allowing people to be them, allowing people to see God, allowing people to see his love. She did that for everybody, even people that she didn't even like. She would just do it for them. And now that she's gone, yeah, I don't have the motivation to stream or motivation to do this as far as social media that. Because when I look at what's the landscape, you know what I'm saying? It gives me no hope. Literally, no hope. You know what I mean? I'll
Wow.
contemplate doing things on social media here and there, but a lot of times I don't because I see my people, I see the nature of my people. Either y'all trying to force your religion down somebody's throat, you're trying to force how you feel down somebody's throat, or your good answer, or whatever else. And the thing is, all of us are at the mercy of God. All of us are at God's mercy. We all need his love and his grace and his mercy. And none of us know the complete right answer. None of us. No matter how much you read the Bible, no matter how much studying you do, the best thing that you can do is love and be humble and give people the fruits of the spirit as much as you can. That's our mission here. That's what we're here for. Not to judge people, not to throw people under the bus, especially another man. We know as men, especially another man to a man, we know how much we're dealing with. And that's just real talk. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to just land there, man. I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm going to land there. Hopefully we can just do a better job as a community as a whole. And yeah, that's all I got to say, man.
Miss
Yes.
Mola, can I wanted to address your point earlier.
Can I let ADS then Freezy go? Then we'll go get back to
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll wait. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. Hey, ADS.
Hey, Mo Love, how's it going this evening?
Good.
Has everyone else had a
What
chance to
would you
express
like to
themselves?
add?
Let me start by asking, has everyone
Freezy is
else?
after you.
Okay, my story's kind of lengthy, so I want to give everybody a chance to speak to share what they've experienced, and I'll share what I've experienced. You know, make sure that that everyone's had a chance to speak. So I'll go back on mute, and anyone else who wants to kind of talk about their experience with depression, please
Right.
share.
So thank you, ADS. And I do want to say this in regards to what 84 said. So it sounds like you have endured so much trauma. I don't know if it's bitterness, maybe anger from what your father failed to take accountability for. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through so much. You stated that you lost your sister. And I know that's a different type of pain. So I'm just praying for you. And as you said, like nobody is perfect. We really don't have room to judge anybody because we are all in the fight. We have so many issues of our own that we could focus in on to where we don't even have room to judge. But I just want you to know that this is a safe space. You are always free to express yourself. And I thank you for being transparent. I think it's Freezy's turn now.
It's not and I thank you for that. Thank you for praying for me and definitely sending things up to God for me, and I definitely appreciate that. But me sharing that
You're
wasn't to
welcome.
share just what I've been through. It's just to show people just these are the things that as men we go through on a regular basis. We go through this on a regular basis, and the thing is that in order for things to change, we have to just see that that men are human beings too. You know what I mean? As the brother Brandon
Right.
was sharing his struggle or whatever, right? That struggle ain't going away. He got the tools to deal with it, right? But it ain't never gonna go
Mm-hmm.
away. He just has the tools now to deal with what he's dealing with. You know what I mean? I've dealt with mental health myself for over 2 decades myself. So I mean, I totally understand not completely his flight because I'm not going through what he's going through, but I understand what he's speaking from. So yeah, I land there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hey, Freezy, did you want to add to the topic?
Oh, yeah. Did you hear me speak to you earlier? Olo?
Did I? I don't know. But were you here? Like some people are saying therapy is a scam. It's not needed. The best therapy comes from, I guess, having a good support system, generally including family. Some people have stated that therapy has been life changing for them. We also talked about the importance of God and prayer, how that can help to combat um, depression. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. First, I want to say blessings to Mo Love, Bolo, Smitty, Brandon, um, Mr. Best in the World, Riaz, ADS. It's great to see y'all again. Um, these conversations, especially when it's dealing with people's life struggles, mentally, spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
it's it could kind of be it could get complicated because you know you don't know you don't you don't know someone's core belief system, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know where they're drawing their strength, where they're trying to draw their strength from, right?
That's so true.
Yeah. So with me, when we have mental health conversations, I want to go to the Most High God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have had experience that to where when I've tried to go that route,
Mm-hmm.
people get mad and they get triggered because they feel like God is the reason why why their life is in the position it's in, why why they're experiencing the things that they experience mentally, and it didn't have to be this way, right?
Yeah.
I just think that just from my perspective, right? I'm gonna just start from there. From my perspective, Satan's Satan's agenda from the beginning was to try as much as he can to destroy our faith.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have faith, we don't have nothing, right? So our faith, um, our faith is it could be detrimental to Satan's agenda. You know, it could be very hindrance to his agenda. So his whole goal is to diminish our faith. And when we have these mental health issues, that's the way I interpret it from my point of view. That's our faith being weakened, because
Yes.
if our faith was on 100, 1,000, uh we'll feel like we could do anything, through Christ who strengthened us, right? And that verse is a very true verse, But the reality of it is, not a lot of people live out that verse to its fullest. Because I know when I read it, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Okay, when is that gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? That's how I used to think. Like, when am I gonna be able to do all things? You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so, the conclusion that I came to when it come to mental health and everything, because like everybody in some form has been neglected from childhood, neglected of the tools that we need to actually navigate through life mentally. Everybody has suffered neglect in some form or fashion. It might have been because of our parents, right?
That's so true.
You know, it might, you know, all kinds of, you know, reasons. But I would say the main reason probably is because our parents didn't have the right knowledge or the right know-how on how to steer us the right way, right? Because our parents are people too. Our parents used to be sons and daughters. Our parents, you know, were children at one time too. So that's how these repeat cycles happen, right? We put so much on our parents. We put so much expectation on our parents, but we forget our parents was kids too, and they had parents, and their parents had parents, and their parents had parents.
That's
So
so true.
I've learned to not put my dad and my mom so much on this pedestal, you know, because I understood they suffered neglect as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so when we put everything into perspective, even our parents was kids, and everybody's suffering. Everybody suffer neglect. Where do we
That is
turn
so
to
true.
now? Where do we turn to now? Right? Once I came to that conclusion, I turned to the Most High God. Right?
Absolutely.
I know it sounds cliche, but how I turned to the Most High God was, I used to think turning to the Most High God was just praying to Him and talking to Him, and you know that's my way of leaning and depending on Him. No, I read the instructions is in the Bible, and I'm gonna tell you something. When you study the Bible like you know diligently, it gives you instructions and a direction.
Directions.
It gives you a direction on how to live your life, because the reason why our parents and our parents and our parents, the reason why there was so much dysfunction and it trickled all the way down to us is because for a long time, generations upon generations was not in order. They didn't have true order in their life. My mom and dad didn't have true order in their life. So on and so forth. But we got to be able to tell ourselves the truth, right? We got to be able to say the truth on that. So once you tell
Right.
yourself the truth, now you're going to go to the source that we were supposed to been went to a long time ago, and give it a real chance. Give it a real chance, you know? And so I just that's my walk. I ain't trying to push this on nobody. I'm
No,
not saying
yeah,
I'm not
it
saying nobody.
works.
Yes, I'm not saying um nobody's outlook is wrong or right or nothing. I'm just saying that what I'm saying right now, it played a big part in putting a lot of stuff into perspective for my mind, because the Bible told me that most of the things that I conjure and I think of is a lie. Some, you know, all of the negative thoughts that I have, apprehension, all of my imaginations, even my dreams, you know, because a lot of people take dreams serious. All that stuff is a lie. All of it is a lie. And Satan uses it, he uses it to his advantage to influence us to feel and be a certain way. But it's a lie. It's a lie.
That is
All of that stuff that
so
y'all
true.
had, that y'all okay. And I'm gonna touch on Smitty. Smitty.
Mhm.
When I say it's a lie, right? Smitty actually suffered an accident where you know
Oh, I mean,
he
yeah.
he had to actually live with you know
Mhm.
part of his body not being there, right? But I just
Yes.
want to say this: the bodies that we was given, and this all if we gonna this all about us believing this world that we living in right now, the bodies that we have, it was never meant to be permanent.
Right.
This world is not our kingdom. These bodies that we have is temporary. We got new suits, new bodies waiting on us, waiting on all of us. All of us. I've seen it. I've seen it from different angles. I've seen people with all their limbs not able to function in life, but I've seen people that done had their legs cut off participate in the damn Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
so like so when I look at it from all angles, these bodies that we have is temporary, and I just think that if we actually place our mind more on the kingdom to come and making that
Mm-hmm.
our prize, making that our goal, right? And just staying thankful, even if
Mm-hmm.
we have to self-will through that, you know, we will have a better experience in this life, in this dark world that we living in. We would have a better experience. And also find a good network.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because everybody listen, you know, everybody don't mean us well. Everybody don't got good intentions. I will argue that most people in this world don't have good intentions for you. You
That's
know,
true.
it's very
Mm-hmm.
good to intentionally surround yourself by people that's going to pour very positive energy into you, like speaks
Mm-hmm.
positivity to you all the time, all the just positive speaking. Them type of people that you need to be around, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, okay.
because
Hold on, Crazy.
yeah,
Let me take a deep breath before I let this person up. Okay. All right. Continue.
yeah, those are the type of people. Mo crazy. Those are Mo crazy. Those are the type of people that I'm finna land my plane. Those are the type of people we need to be around because think about it. Me and Mo, we talked about it in Bible study. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, well, I don't go to a lot of panels no more, right? Everybody, this is not a military secret, but it's not by happenstance. Once we leave certain environments and platforms, you feel bad, you feel negative, you feel discouraged. It puts a spirit on you, right?
It's true.
When you watch certain TV shows or movies that everybody's saying is popular, it might not be for
Mm-hmm.
you. It not might not be for
Thank
you.
you.
You gotta
Right.
police. This what we gotta do. We gotta start policing our own spirit, policing our own mind state and mental state. We gotta police our surroundings and what we subject ourselves to. We have a personal responsibility to do that. A
Mm-hmm.
personal responsibility. But so often we're led and influenced by what might be seen socially accepted and popular. And we just got to get out of that. And I land with that.
That's so good, Crazy.
And I'll respond briefly to what he was saying, considering the with the limb part. Um
Okay.
it's yeah, I just want to say this. I actually really get with what you're saying, Brother Freeze, because it's something that we have that people may know is called phantom pain. And phantom pain is weird. And this is how I know the spirit is real, right? Because it's like I still feel my foot flex, and it's not there. But it's
Wow.
like I don't think y'all get how there have been times I almost forgot it wasn't there because it still feel it's not something physical. That is letting me know that even though a physical part has been removed, the entirety of the spirit is still intact, and that is something that cannot be penetrated through anything of you know, this realm. But
Mm,
yeah, nah, I'm with you on that part right there, Brody. Because the the phantom pain is something that just really explains everything, and you know, I pray nobody ever has to go through it to know what I'm talking about, right? But just
mhm,
note that
mhm.
I actually still feel my ankle flex just like yours to this very moment, 3 years later, and it's weird, and I can't explain it.
Oh my gosh. Does it hurt?
No, I feel like my foot rotates. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, nah, it just oh, I still feel it as if it was still there.
Wow. Well, I just want to say shout out to you. I think that's how I discovered you like 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
shout out to
You
you,
were
Smitty, man.
on chaotic chaotic truths channel. And I think I heard you say like, well, y'all can go to my page and look. And when I saw your story, I was just amazed. I thank God for your strength. Like sometimes I forget your story because you are just so strong,
And
and you
that's
have
what
not
I love
allowed that
about it,
to.
Mo. I love the fact that, honestly, let's just be for real. Had I never said anything to this very second, would any of you have ever even thought or known? See, that's the power of God. If you really want to talk about it,
Absolutely.
I digress. My
Yeah,
mic is muted.
I agree, though.
Shout out to you,
Yeah, I see what.
Smitty. I
Hey,
did want to
W to
address
you,
this.
big dog.
So Big Bad Bull said, and I'm not gonna stay on this long because I don't want it to turn into a whole gender thing. But he said, to be completely honest, women can be very sometimey and change on you at the drop of a dime. Then they will weaponize your vulnerabilities back at you. This is why there is a value in therapy and unbiased ear. Okay, so yes, that's great. When it comes to therapy, they're less likely to judge, right? That's also true about women, and I think that it's unfortunate, but just know that some of us are safe, and we create a genuine space for you to be who you are. And if somebody weaponizes whatever you shared, then that's just a person that wasn't meant to support you. And it sucks. And I can see why that would cause men to shut down and feel away towards women. You know, what was y'all?
Yeah, you're
What
right.
anybody want to respond to that?
Miss Mo
Okay, yeah.
Love, I'd like to respond to a earlier point that you kind of hit on, and I think everybody else was alluding to, which is trauma. And we have to understand, trauma and in its scientific basis as well. Trauma usually happens at early childhood. Dr. Gabor Mate, he's a very famous Hungarian-born um, clinician from the University of British Columbia. He has a clinic, and he says out of all of the people that are hooked on meth, fentanyl, have serious alcoholism, depression, suicidality. The ratio is 99% of all of those people who have all of those um, problems with their life have been severely abused as a child. And we have to, one of the things that trauma does is it physically alters the brain. It reduces the amount of dopamine that happens in the prefrontal cortex. That's why we use drugs. because we're replacing dopamine. So, but that's why people are fat, because they are
It's true.
replacing dopamine in their brain. But one of the things that trauma can do, and I heard I think Mr. Seven hit on this, is he was talking about how his brain is giving false signs of physiological phenomenon in his body, and that phenomenon is called one of the things that can happen is damaged neuroception. And that's a situation where the nervous system can mistake cues of safety or danger, leading to overreaction or underreaction of external stimuli. And that's a consequence of trauma as well. So trauma is a thing that we have to deal with as men and as women. And we have to mitigate various things that can happen to us, because when they happen to us as a child, it definitely affects what happens to us in our adult life. So there's those things have you can definitely see that continuity between the trauma that happens in childhood and the phenomena that we express in our adult life. So yeah, I just want to say shout out to my boy Freezy. Freezy, that's my dog.
You were saying that is trauma, real quick.
Brandon, what's up, B?
How you doing, big dog?
You were saying that is trauma.
Yes, it's trauma. Yeah, trauma can affect our neurological. Trauma.
Now, I just want to say this because I want Ruthless to get in there. Now, everything that you just explained, that was very well put, very eloquently put. Much respect to you. What we have to remember is this: before there was science, there was something called the spirit, and what science is supposed to do is to prove how much the spirit is of realness. So,
exactly.
We have to remember that everything that you're saying is what man tries their best to scientifically explain, what we never been able to really get a true comprehension and grasp on. So, I mean, science will always say, well, no, this is trauma. This is this is that. I get you. Some things truly are that. But I want us to keep in mind, we are to use science to prove how real God is, not the other way around. Ruthless, go ahead, rock out.
So, good evening, everybody.
Don't traumatize me, Ruthless.
Oh, you better believe he is. But let me respond to you real quick. Yeah.
No.
ADS turn.
Hold on. Let me hit on that science.
He already passed it to me.
Yeah. Let Ruthless go. Yeah.
Ruthless.
It's Mo show.
Hold on, Ruthless. ADS, did you want to go or did you want Ruthless to go first?
If Ruthless has something that he wants to share with the group, I'll go ahead and allow him to speak.
Okay, go ahead.
He's gonna make us suffer early. Go ahead.
And we're not trolling on your Ruthless, but go ahead.
Therapy is trash, right? Because
oh my God,
it's useless.
What? Listen, let me say this, man.
I'm not done.
I literally gave a 5-minute vignette about it.
Mute him, please.
I just want to finish.
You mute him, please.
Hold, show some decorum.
Nah, dogs. Mo, can you mute him? Thank you. Dogs, we ain't doing that today.
Ruthless, that's so unproductive to have people up here sharing and then to come in here.
Oh, mute him right now.
Please. Totally derail what these folks are sharing about their lives.
That was my opinion.
Yes, chill. Hey, Mo, mute him for a second. We ain't doing this. The next time you come off,
he keeps unmuting.
Cool. Drop him next time he unmutes. Drop him. We're not doing this right now, dog. We're not doing this right now. You want to come up and you want to throw a monkey wrench? Do that on your channel. We're not doing it here. Do me a Mo, can you please do me a favor? Drop him right now, please.
Like for real, have some goddamn respect, man.
Please drop them. Thank you. We're not doing that right now. We're trying to save lives, dog. We don't want you coming up here just to disturb stuff because you want to disturb stuff. We're not
Yo,
doing that yet, dog. We're not
I
doing
went to the kitchen for like, I swear I just got back. I went to put my,
So Lord
what
ADS,
happened?
because Duke just want to come up here just to be different and just want to be, he just want to be different. We're not doing that. The games of playing with people's lives are done. It's done.
You know what? God saved me from that. You know what? The Lord is
Hold up,
good.
can I go ahead and go from here?
I
Absolutely.
stepped away right as that shit popped off, and I didn't hear a damn thing. It's not my fault.
Go ahead, ADS.
I mean, what I suffered from was different, right? It wasn't due to like any type of trauma or anything that had happened to me. It was due to success. You know, I I had a relatively good childhood. I was in the Navy, you know what I'm saying? Made 900s division, special units, right? You know what I'm saying? Did my time in there. I got out. And what I learned was, or saw about myself at the time, is that I just had ambitions and goals, right? Be a little more aspiration than any average men did, right? In a lot of cases that I had dealt with. So I just kept climbing the ladder, kept working towards things, climbing the ladder, kept climbing the ladder, kept climbing the ladder. And along the way, what I developed was a lot of guilt and a lot of shame for sometimes leaving folks behind, a lot of mistakes from bad relationships that I've been in, right? You know what I'm saying? That I had made, just kept haunting me and haunting me and haunting me night after night after night, It hit a head for me in 2020, when the pandemic hit, because there was no place for me to run. I couldn't just take a vacation. I could just disappear. I had to sit there and deal with, saying who I was right at the time, to the point where I shut people out. One day just stopped calling to my girlfriend at the time and just would not pick up the phone for her for anything because I didn't want to talk to her about anything, right? I just wanted to be alone, and I just kept, saying, okay, I can work my way out of this just like I always had, right? So I just kept working and working, and before I knew it, months went by, and then years went by in some cases. And my mother became extraordinarily concerned about me. She's like, you're big as a barn now. I weigh 272 pounds. And she was like, on the outside, you don't have any type of, people who don't know you can't see it, right? Because you hide it well. You hide it extraordinarily well, right? She said, but I can tell you're going through something, saying that you just won't talk about. And then, I'll shut her out for a while, right? Shut her out for a few months, just wouldn't talk to her either. It got to the point where she ended up calling, she's a registered nurse. So she called a service for me, right? And upon the first conversation, I was just like, saying, I don't need this shit, right? I'm doing just fine. Everyone else, saying got laid off in the pandemic. People are sick and dying. I'm thriving during the pandemic, right? I mean, I'm really living my best life during the pandemic. And, she's just like, there's just something off with you. She's like, your behavior, the way you're acting, she's like, you're really cold and super detached, right, from everything. And so one day I just got tired of it, and I went ahead and called up a therapist and said, okay, well, I got insurance. Why not use it, right? I ain't doing nothing else anyway. So let's see what's going on here. And Amani, upon our conversations, started basically showing me symptoms that I was suffering, from, kind of a side effect, right, of success in that situation, which is basically, guilt, right? Shame in that situation. And it took me about a year and a half to work through it with her. But once I got through it, I felt a lot better about myself. And she taught me a lot of skill sets.
Hold on, Lord Idiot. Everybody mute up. Everybody mute up. Because it's some static or something going on. Go ahead, Lord Idiot.
And from her, I developed a lot of skill sets to help me to move forward. I can still have success in this situation. I still feel successful and I still feel really good about myself now, right? What I learned about me is that a lot of people were going through the exact same thing I was in life, right? Where you reach a certain peak, you keep moving forward, but there's just all types of side symptoms to, moving forward, right? And a lot of those circumstances that just don't get talked about. So, for me, therapy was really good to help me move forward, right? From past grievances, things that I had done, saying my shortcomings. It just really helped me sort those things out. And just I think it made me a much better person going to therapy than if I had not went to therapy.
Well, I'm glad you shared that, brother. But you know that
Me
wasn't that
too.
long. You know you could have said that a
Yes,
long
I'm
time ago.
down from you.
You know it wasn't that long, right? You said that a
Right.
long time ago. You could have shared that because that was awesome. That was
Look,
definitely.
I was waiting on
I was waiting
Nah,
for.
but hold on, Bolo. How
Yes.
we gonna have the big fluff? Look, how we gonna have the big red couch poured out, and then when folks get to putting their feet up and telling you that it all started in the 4th grade, be like, hey, look, bro, we gotta recognize. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna get them stories. It's gonna pop up. Hey, look, it is that moment. Okay.
Here's the thing. Let me say this. Let me address it. You know, understand, you know, everyone can have a difference in opinion. That's what these forums are for, right? To address the difference in opinion because we welcome the difference in opinion. The disrespect is what we won't tolerate because the Lord deals with everything in decency and order. And Freezy, you can correct me if I'm wrong. He deals with everything in decency and order. So if there's a difference in opinion, cool. We're here to address it. We're here to pull out scripture and root you and direct you to the word. But when we start talking with disrespect, because again, we're doing this to save lives. We're doing this to point you, us, and to keep this forum and to keep this brotherhood and sisterhood in the essence of Christ. This isn't about ego or pride. So when we come up here of our own time to bring the word, and again, I always say this, whatever channel I'm on, there's someone listening that's holding on to with a thread. And when you come up here and you start being disrespectful, or if you have a difference in opinion, there's a way to do it in decency and order, man. There just is. And to continue having it done disrespectfully, it disrespects not only Mo Love's channel and the time and patience that she puts into trying to create these topics. It's a disrespect. It's tantamount to how we've seen in the Chappelle show how my man took his shoes and started rubbing it on the couch. That's basically what you're doing. You know, you take your shoes off and you respect the environment that you're in. If you're in an environment where you could talk that way, then talk that way. This is not the environment that she's cultivating. So I just wanted to address that.
Hey, man, that's a W for you. I appreciate you having the perspicacity to, you know, not allow them to derail that conversation and obfuscate from what we were talking about.
Well,
You know, that's a big W.
But here's the thing. You have the beauty of what Freezy said pertaining to his story in the scripture. And then right after he speaks of that, you have that happen.
Well, I mean, listen, Bolo, look, don't mind me for just keeping a little humor, but Ruthless don't look nothing like Rick. But go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
The point of the matter is when you have a testimony as Freezy gave, you know, there's certain things that need to be marinated on. You dig what I'm saying? There's certain things like in the village, there's certain times if someone says something, we'll pause the whole thing to let that marinate and not break the spirit. And when you have him say something pertaining to the word and how it helped him to get to where he was, and then you come up and the first thing you say is, "This is it." Come on, man. You can have a difference in thought process. That's not the issue. But we're not going to break the spirit. And Freezy, you can correct me if I'm wrong if you feel differently, my G. I just felt it was disrespectful for you to do what you did and to speak in testimony of how you spoke, and then that comes right after.
No, it was disrespectful.
Bolo, let me tell you something, Bolo. When you led by the Spirit, Freezy gonna get out the way. I will tell you that right now. And I think I felt that Bolo, you are the type of person, and you've cultivated environments on your channel. You've led. I mean, you've led souls in a way to where you have enough wisdom to know when you're in the midst of people, there has to be a high level degree of consideration, right? When we're with each other, especially when we go to talking, right? like consideration is key. You gotta be considerate, and you gotta considerate. I mean, you gotta consider, you know, where you at, where the environment you at. You know what I'm saying? I Bolo, I done chalked it up to when I'm dealing with different people on social media now, especially YouTube. And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. They just don't know better. You know, it's just like we've been so used to just having this self-satisfaction of just being right. We're so concerned with being right and sounding right instead of like building with one another, right? A lot of times people have been so conditioned to just be the rightest person in the room. They don't even realize that in your conquest of just being right, you might be tearing somebody else down, you know, in the process. So that's where the consideration come in at. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I had to grow to the point where I am now too, you know, because it's not just about Freezy. When I'm talking in forums like this, and shout out to Mo Love, like we have to consider one another because we're supposed to look at each other as brothers and sisters, and the goal is to build up one another. So just to land my plane, right? Remember at the tail end of what I was saying?
Absolutely.
Make sure when you make a personal decisions to put yourselves in different environments, you gotta take a personal responsibility that you don't place yourselves in environments that's going to drain you or take from you or tear you down or make you feel pessimistic about stuff, doubtful, right? Because I knew what Ruthless was going. He was finna throw a whole bunch of doubt in. He was
so crazy.
Ruthless was finna throw a whole bunch of doubt in the whole conversation.
You already know. You already know where he was going. So 84. Can I address this comment? He said,
I was going to address it too.
It was messed up, and I'm not even a fan of Mr. Truth. But hey, it's all good. Now, please don't tell me that you thought that was messed up. You don't think it's messed up that he came up here to derail? You know I got love for you, but that was not okay.
Can I address it because it was me? Right. Let me address it. You know, there's a certain decorum that cats need to have with men. So let's make this a gender thing, okay? Because cats like to always talk about men being leaders. Men are situationally aware of what their surroundings are. Men understand the conversation. Men understand the temperature of the room. Men understand the direction and intentionally go in that direction, and respectfully, if they don't, they deal with it respectfully. They don't just come in and throw monkey wrenches as if this is not a place of order. So let's understand. Let's understand that. So when we say that was messed up, I'm not a fan, we deal with order. Now, again, it has nothing to do with you having a difference in opinion. You can have a difference in opinion in order. The Lord deals with order. He doesn't deal with confusion. I don't know what you deal with, but we deal with order. So if you're going to be in an environment that's orchestrated by God, it will be done in order, period. Cats understand that this is war that we're under. Yeah. Understand that this is coming. This is a spiritual war. This is not a game. Your spirit in your life is in jeopardy. If you want to play with it, go right ahead. I won't.
Bolo, if I could interject,
Absolutely,
not only that, real quick. Come on, y'all, man. Let's just be responsible, man. Like, okay, I would see. Now, this is just me being diplomatic. I would see if Mo Love was having, like, you know, the usual Bible conversation, spiritual conversation. This conversation in particular is about mental health. People have shared things thus far on this panel. It's very sensitive. Like dealing with mental health and people's experiences in their past. We have to be very careful with people, right? Because there's a huge amount of responsibility that has to be passed around on this show tonight because it's dealing with mental health, right? And so that's what makes it different for me. I don't know if y'all remember when I first started talking, the first thing I said was the complicated things about these conversations. I don't know where people are drawing from, for their strength. I don't know where they're drawing from. So I don't want to disrespect nobody, and I don't want people to feel like what I'm about to say, I'm just forcing my views on nobody, because I know it's sensitive. This is a sensitive mental health is very sensitive. Like let's just be honest. I know a lot of us are men up here, but a lot of men have fragile minds. So you have to be careful how you attack. What exactly? Yeah. And Ruthless, I'm gonna say this. Ruthless, I know you watching. Ruthless, we got love for you, Ruthless. This ain't nobody hating on you, Ruthless. We got love for you. I just know when you and Smitty said it first. Smitty was like, hold on.
You heard it.
Yeah, Smitty said it. He said it. And then as soon as Ruthless went to talk, I said, oh, boy, man, Ruthless finna be Ruthless. Ruthless finna live up to his name tonight. I'm trying to tell you. He was finna be ruthless with it tonight. Maybe that's why they call him Ruthless.
But you know the craziest thing to that, Freezy, is this is what bugs me. That if there's a young man or a young woman that's listening and they hear that madness, they can just tune into Mo Love's channel for 5 minutes. Not 25, 1 minute. And they just happen to catch that woman or that young man blood is on our hands because we allowed that madness. And again, doesn't mean that we don't have fun. We joke around in the village. We joke around on Freezy's channel. We joke around on Mo Love's channel. We joke around here for the tea. We joke around. But when we're talking about the mental fragileness of someone's mind and what they're going through, to the point of what Freezy was saying, right? When we're talking about that, we have to understand the sensitivity. We have to understand the room. And that's the point of it, understanding the room. If you want to disagree, there is no problem with it because Papi Blanco was disagreeing, right? And we addressed it. That's not an issue.
I felt like he was genuine in his disagreement.
Right.
Like a lot of times with Ruthless, like he came in my Bible study 2 weeks ago. And when I tell you he was on some trolling in a very subtle way. Like he started out real subtle, then it turned into a full-blown debate. And I had to tell him, that's not the type of live I'm running right now, please.
I remember that. I was laughing. Nola was getting hot.
Y'all overlooking the obvious. He's screaming for help himself. Those who scream at denial like that are the ones who need it the most.
Yeah, I agree with you, but here's the thing, ADS. If it's going to destroy what's being built, because the scriptures say a little leaven destroyed the loaf. You dig what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we and I probably messed up the scripture, but you understand the point. We cannot allow, because the Lord doesn't deal with confusion. We love the brother. I love the brother. You dig what I'm saying?
We love you, Ruthless.
When you're coming to just start swinging, you're coming into a place swinging a hammer.
Cousin all out, but my bad.
Yeah, when you come into a place swinging a hammer in a place full of glass, you have to, you have to be mindful, right? We're having a serious conversation about people that have gone through things, and through therapy it helped. Now, again, therapy isn't for everybody, right? There's different types of it. It's not for everybody. But when we're talking about something this sensitive and this serious, you should be able to sit there and say, you know what? let me disagree, but let me do it respectfully.
Right. And that's not what I heard.
That's not what it was
Let me
doing.
just say this if I could.
Right.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
Hey,
let me just
Vaughn,
say
how are
this.
you?
But you want to know the beauty of something
Peace
real
and-
quick. If
peace and
anybody
blessings.
does not or does, I'm sorry, Mo. Forgive me, beloved. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just wanted to let Vaughn speak really quick, then you can go.
Yeah, well, let me just say this if I could. Peace and blessings, everyone. But I find it very disheartening how insensitive we've become. You see what I'm saying? Especially when we're dealing with such a crucial topic as mental health. You see, and so for us to discard whatever tool it is that God is using to heal or to help someone, man, how apathetic we have become. You see? And so then we get in these conversations and we're like a bull in a china shop. You see what I'm saying? You see, not understanding how delicate the situation and the topic is. So definitely, man, we have to be more careful, man. You see, and in regards to how we speak to each other, we do have to definitely know how to read the room. You see, you
That's a
just
big
can't
one.
blurt out anything all willy-nilly. You have no idea of all of the work that some individuals have put into therapy. That it's actually being beneficial to them. You see. So we have to really govern our speech. The Bible says that a fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. So I appreciate the conversation
It is
tonight.
so true, Vaughn.
Yeah, I appreciate the conversation tonight. I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of it. I do have some more things to say, but I will digress at the moment and open the floor for someone else.
Man, I
Okay,
feel
thank
like
you
giving
so
some
much,
offering after he talk. Every time he talk, I want to get some offering.
every
Yeah.
time.
Same here. Same here, though.
Riaz, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, to build off his point, yes, he's right though, and I kind of agree with him though. Also, though, God helps those who helps themselves. Yes, God will help you. Yes, have faith. Yes, believe and practice and everything like that. But to truly help yourself is not just to actually, it's not just with God only. It's within yourself. No one can help you other than you, though. No, in that type of way. I mean, of course, people can help you. They can suggest you. They can advise you. They can do whatever they could to help you. But no one can truly change you other than you, though, because you know you better than, and no, everybody else knows you, though. Because the true struggle is within, and to truly help yourself is to go within yourself, though. To face the demons within, though.
I'd like to say something about
I
the
agree,
mental health thing.
Riaz.
Yeah.
People don't understand that a large sector of society they're dealing with mental health, and they just don't understand the symptoms of what they're dealing with. Right? This isn't a black or white thing. This isn't a rich or poor thing. This is a people thing, right? Across the board, to the point where you have a large sector of people self-medicating in order to at least attempt to somehow or another cope with their common circumstances and situations. People suffer from anxiety, right? All types of different challenges, in these situations. They feel overwhelmed and just don't know who to talk to or where to get help in these circumstances. Those who pretend to be the strongest are usually the most weakest when it comes to these type of matters. They just don't know who to talk to or how to say it because they feel as if, saying that vulnerability weakens them to the point where, for attack. And I think
Right.
we just need to, if we can figure out a way to make a list of resources people can talk to that are free resources from the state, from their cities, just from different circumstances, or at least a hotline, I think will be helpful to a lot of people.
Yes, I agree. And
Mo,
you're right.
may I address something
Don't
whenever I can?
understand. Yeah, one second. People don't understand the severity of depression. And let's not even talk about anxiety. Like that has been a battle for me for the last I would say 16 years. And I'm talking about unbearable almost anxiety to where I'm at work and then I find myself on the floor, like gasping for air in my car, and then how it can be so crippling. You don't want to go nowhere because it's like, oh my gosh, am I gonna almost pass out in front of all these people? So it's a lot. Mental health is serious, and it goes beyond just depression. I think Bull said it best. And if it's people coming in here like to troll the topic, or if your comments are disingenuous, then this may not be the live for you, because it's a real struggle for so many people.
Well, also,
what were you gonna say? 84.
Can I? My bad. Whenever I get the chance, I just want to say something. Sorry.
I'll say this. Because I was misquoted by my brother Bolo, but it's fine. Bolo sometimes misquotes me because instead of him listening to actually what I'm saying, he just wants to have the right answer, but it's fine. Still love him. It's all good. With that being said, what I was saying I'm not a fan of wasn't of you yourself, Bolo, or anything like that. I was saying I'm not a fan of Mr. Truth. I've kicked him off of plenty of panels with him being disrespectful and deviating the conversation. Had to do it like a month ago.
My apologies.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. And also I myself, along with my brother, we have walked somebody literally off the ledge. You know what I mean? And you know this because our dear beloved brother Clarence did a whole, book and book backdrop based on that simple thing.
Facts.
Right? So I take this very seriously. Hopefully, I don't think I do. I'm true to this. I'm not new to this. I've actually done this. You know what I mean? Even with my own mother. My own mother has mental health issues. Like, I've actually really been there. I've been in the psych wards. I've done all that. You know what I mean? So, like, these things are very near and dear to me. They're very serious for me. And I just want to say to anybody who has a struggle, anybody who's been through it, anybody who doesn't feel like it's comfortable, especially if you are a man.
I'm sorry, I had
man, say something, talk, go to somebody. You know what I mean? There's hotlines. There are, you know what I mean? If anybody could find the hotline too, if y'all could put it in the chat, that'll be great. There actually is a 24-hour mental health hotline that you could call if you're feeling whatever, suicidal, whatever. You can actually call, and they actually will help you and walk you through it. I've actually called the hotline
The
myself.
best thing to do is to call 911
That too. You know what I mean?
because they'll be able to get to you faster and they'll give you the proper administration for that.
That's a fact, bro. You know what I mean? But I'm just giving people other tools as well. As addition to what you're saying. And I think within our community, we have to basically allow people's mental health struggles to be normalized, man, and not make it taboo, not shame people, not what they say in the Black community. Hey, man, ain't nothing wrong with you. How many of us have heard that?
Right,
ain't nothing wrong
right.
with you. You know what I mean? No, there is something wrong. There is something wrong, and that is a fact. Salute to Braxton, Dark Lake. I see you as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, and everybody in the chat. But yeah, I take it very seriously, and I just, and I want us to take that seriously as well, and just really love and help each other through that struggle. I'm in there.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you if you take it very seriously, right? And I've had conversations with you to where I know that you're genuine in a lot of things that you say, but why have an issue with the correction that took place with Ruthless if you understand that this is like a serious, very critical moment? I guess I'm asking, how could you view that as, I guess I think you said it was messed up. How so?
My opinion on that is basically, I don't think he was being disrespectful, but if y'all felt like the tone and rhetoric that he was spewing was disrespectful, that's fine. You know what I mean? If y'all felt that way, that's completely fine. That's y'all stance on it. But like I said, I've kicked the brother off of plenty of panels myself, more than once. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, nah, you got to get up out of here. You got to go. Plenty of times. You know what I mean? And we'll probably have to do it again. Because he does derail the conversation. Let's be completely transparent. He does.
He ain't got no soft skills.
But see, that's the issue.
You can literally be talking about, hey man, this is politically what's going on. This this is what I think about, the presidency, and this is what I think is going to run in the next 3 years or whatever. And the brother will come up and make it about men and women. I mean, I've seen it. It is done, and he does it effortlessly. You know what I mean? No hate to him at all, man. I got no, just like y'all saying, y'all ain't got no hate. I ain't got no hate towards Mr. Truth at all. I call him Mr. Truth because I'm not his peer. He's an elder. You know what I mean? I respect that. But yeah, he deviates from the conversation completely. You have no disagreement from me. So if y'all felt like that's what was going on, and y'all felt like that's what y'all need to do, it's fine. But for me, I didn't feel like he was being disrespectful. You know what I mean? But that's what I felt. But like I said, I kicked him off plenty of times. So it is what it is.
Well, can I add this? And let me add this, because again, what Truth with 84 was saying is something I think that needed to be done a long time ago, and we didn't. So I want to give out some phone numbers, if Mo will allow me to give out some phone numbers for those that are suffering. So the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, it's 800-273-8255. They're available 24/7. Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America.org for those that need mentorship. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration National Helpline is 800-622-4357. The National Drug Helpline, 844-289-0879, available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Drughelpline.org for drug and alcohol help. The National Association for Children of Alcoholics, 855-544-2627. The National Parent Helpline, 855-427-2736. If you are in a crisis, text NAMI, N-A-M-I, to 741-741, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, not just for women, also for men, 800-799-7233, or the hotline.org. The National Child Abuse Hotline, 800-422-4453, or text 800-422-4453, childhelp.org. The National Human Trafficking Resource Center Hotline, 888-373-7888. These numbers are available 24 hours a day. The Sexual Assault Hotline, confidential, is 800-656-4673. Don't be ashamed to use these numbers. Please,
Man,
if you need the help, use it.
man, you
Shout
don't
out
know
to
how much
Bolo.
respect I have for you for doing that, because I've been in the hospital with people just like, myself, who was suicidal, and they didn't know those numbers. I mean, I didn't know them.
Those
And
numbers are in every show that we do. Those numbers are in the description. Because
yeah, well, it's so important that you did that, because people like me and the people I was in the hospital with, we didn't know that.
Yeah, because again, when you're suffering, it's hard to get up and do the homework. It's hard to get up and figure it out. So if you look in the description, if you look at Mo's Love, and you guys can mark the minute, if any of these numbers, and again, these numbers are not the end all be all. They will point you in the direction that you need to go in. They're free. So if you don't have insurance, they're free. They're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The worst thing that you can do is do nothing. Please do something. Please.
You probably literally just saved like 3 lives.
Gentlemen, I think that we need to talk about in Crux too, how important preventive care is in these cases versus react. I think a lot of people live through the reactive care portion of it, right? Where they actually find themselves in the crisis and then end up calling one of these lines, versus preventive care, which is self-care. Because your mental health is just as important as your physical health, just as important as your emotional health, just as important as your spiritual health in life, right? It needs to be a priority. And I think we need to kind of start to center a bigger conversation around self-care in these particular circumstances. Because I think that's where a lot of people find lacking in any circumstances and situations, that they don't know the proper way to take care of themselves before they get to the point where they're in these crises, in these circumstances and situations.
And you're 100%. You're 100%. A lot of the times we deal with the effect opposed to dealing with the cause. And we would like to try and preemptive strike. And you're 100% correct, ADS, that, we need more information out there. That's the reason why we have the men's class. right? To preventative measures so that it doesn't get too exacerbated where you can mitigate the issues that you're going through so that you don't get to that point where, you're thinking about, self-deletion. So, we're trying to attack it from two perspectives, and you're 100% correct, sir.
Yeah, cause I could feel it, man. By the time Roof was gonna be done, I was finna go. Man, I was finna down a whole fifth of Jack Daniels. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, nah, but real quick
Oh
though,
my God.
That right there is tactfully putting a joke. That
hey,
right there is tactfully putting a joke.
before
You know
we
what
get
I'm
too
saying?
far,
So,
even in this aspect too, right? It's something else I think that it's not also spoken about or recognized. You have a lot of times where people don't even know how many different forms depression comes in. You know how nowadays
Right.
sayings,
Mm-hmm.
that goes mad, you're big mad. A lot of times depression can also come out in the form of anger. It can come out in the form of lashing out. You see, and we can think that this child or this person is just, I don't know, being violent, being unruly. It could be, I don't know, but I'm saying that is an aspect that also comes with it. Depression is not just a person who's quiet, sad, crying, and shut down in a quiet room. There are so many different forms in how people express it, from overeating, over aggression, totally shutting down, you name it. There are many different forms, and you have to know even down to the levels in which it comes in. But I digress. My mic is muted. Respect to the family.
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
that's
so good. Next wife
Another.
school, I wanted wife school to be able to say something. Thank you for joining the
Okay.
panel. Are
Hey
you there?
everyone. Yeah,
Hey.
hopefully don't cut it and out. Um, yes, this is very important because I believe that there's a place for therapy, and maybe the pastor may not have all the tools, he can guide us spiritually, but sometimes you may need that, extra help.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that is okay. I think it's healthy and it's safe, as long as you're like balancing it all, and I think it's very important because there's a lot of things that I had to look back into my personal past, and like, wow, why do I keep falling into these relationships, or what's wrong with me, or what's going on, or why is the relationship with my mom or dad off the rocks, like, so just even going back and forgiving a lot, and because people did the best they could, and then moving to myself, forgiving myself, and then figuring out, okay, now that I've been a part of these things, now I have children, so now the enemy is going to try to attack them. So I have to get
Mm-hmm.
in a better place and not sulk in this situation because other lives are at stake. And
Mm-hmm.
he makes you strong, and he'll show your strength when you're weakest. Actually, you be like, wow, where'd you get that strength from? Well, it wasn't from me. Thank you, God, because there's been a lot of things that, sometimes even as women we go through, but we bury it way down. And a lot of, sometimes men think that, oh, they just willing, but a lot of women, they bury a lot of stuff. Just like you guys bury a lot of
Right.
things, but we express it in different ways. And just like having this session right now, allowing people just to be open and transparent, and to learn to listen. That's very important. And the Bible says be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove.
Harmless
Like,
as
I'm
done.
wise, I'm listening, like, okay, I know what to address. I hear it, but I'm gonna be harmless as a dove. But when I do speak, I'm gonna try to be direct into that area that you need the help in, because I do have to listen first and have that compassion, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to minister. We're supposed to be like Christ. We're supposed to, be there for people. And he was always there, no matter what, always foot on the
Right.
ground with the sinners, with the sick, with the people that had the mental illnesses, of the demoniac son that kept throwing himself in the fire. And he was like, Lord, help me. My son is, throwing himself and harming himself. He said, do you believe that he can be healed? He said, the dad was like, I believe, but help my unbelief. And I think a lot of us, as it was stated before, we've lost faith. We lost hope. So you cannot please God unless you have faith. Then he can move. Then he's like, yeah, she's believing me now, and I can move on their behalf. We have to really lay it at the cross, because that's what he took on his back for all that. And there's just so many scriptures, and it gets to the point where you have to speak spiritual things, because as we talked about, the spiritual part of us is real. We neglect that the most. We think we go and say a little 10-minute prayer before our food, but our spirit man is malnourished. We feed our physical man. We get in our ego and feel that whatever we're right, and we justify and have our pride, but our spiritual man is crying out like, hey, this is my extra strength. It's called supernatural. That's when we tap in to God. That's when we tap into that supernatural strength that we need to make it through another day, or to pray for somebody else. And that's the part we really, really neglect. And it's so important to infuse it into these conversations, because it's so circular. That's what the children of Israel, they were going through the wilderness because of complaining of the same thing. But because it's a spiritual issue, it's something that somebody had said, the inner demons. Yeah, it was the inner things that needed to go. And there's just so much truth in the word. And even when Jesus, like he went through a lot, and we think that, oh, he had it easy. No, he did not. He had a lot of unsurety at some times, where he was scared because he was, in the flesh, but he still said, not my will, but your will, even when it was the most hardest. Nobody want to willfully die, things like that for somebody else, but he did it. And that just shows how he dug deep and showed the length of his love, despite knowing that people, like, you don't really know my assignment, but I know my assignment. I'm thinking about Smitty. I'm thinking about Brandon. I'm thinking about Mo Love. I'm thinking about that person that's getting ready to jump off the bridge. I'm thinking about these people, and I have to do it. And we have to call on him, because he's the one that first loved us. He can love us out of anything. My dad said, love the hell out of him. Just love the hell. And be like, wow, that's cool. And that love is so strong. And the devil the enemy wants to kill it out of all of us, have us thinking that, oh, the black men hate the black women, and the black women hate the black men. Like, oh, just stop it. Just stop. And when you speak positive, that's when the people are like, wow, I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? We don't speak enough of that. And I think just how we're doing it tonight, and we're like, I appreciate you, man. That was good. It's like the positive and the love, it triumphs over all that. And that's what I want to see. And it's so hard. You sometimes, like you said, you have to withdraw from some of the panels, some of the content, because that's not where I am. But
Exactly.
I do come so that we can infuse the kingdom into it, because that's the most important message that needs to be heard. And that's the solution to a lot of the problems that we are facing. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you so much, Wife School. Yes,
I can go on
ma'am.
all night, but I'll cut it short.
That is key. I think that's a huge part of what's missing. But I also understand, like, everybody may not be there yet, where they pray it through, you know.
And you don't have to be
But
there.
I
We're
believe,
supposed to bear the infirmities of the weak, you know?
right?
They don't have to be there. They don't have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what White School Podcast said was so true. Like, it's the enemy that wants to cause a distraction, that wants to steal,
Yes.
kill, and destroy.
Agree.
That causes, those thoughts of wanting to take itself out or
Yeah.
wanting to be
Absolutely.
disrupted. That's the enemy. The enemy is the one that does that. So we have to understand that. And she said something important. We neglect the spiritual, but the spiritual is the most important part. You can't neglect the spiritual. The spiritual controls everything else. You know what I mean? There's a scripture that says, it says physical attributes amount to something, all attributes amount to something, but it's the spiritual attributes that is the most important. That's what is going to be the most important out of everything. So our connection with God is what's going to lead us to battling through that and to basically being better and basically the growing. His love, his mercy, you know what I mean? And not just his love, his unconditional love, his
Right.
unconditional mercy, and all the things that God gives us. That's what allows us to get through that. And we just got to remember that. We have to remember that. So, West School Podcast, thank you for sharing that. That was definitely
Thank
important. And Bolo,
you.
thank you for sharing all these hotlines,
Oh,
man.
no, brother.
Like, for real.
It's important because
Yeah.
we have to understand that all these spirits that we're talking about, we have to understand, right? When we start getting into the word, and Priestley, you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's rules and regulations that these spirits have to operate by the same way there are rules and regulations that we have to operate by. So these spirits operate in the flesh.
Right.
They operate through people. So this, when we give that said rebuke that you're talking about, 84, it's in those people. The same way when Christ rebuked those spirits and they went into the pigs, they were in people. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that this is how they operate. They use people to derail the bigger grand scheme of things, right? Now, it doesn't mean that that person that was being used doesn't get help. Doesn't mean that. That means that for now, in this moment, we got to deal with these 55 people. We'll get to deal with that 3 people over there in a minute, but we're going to deal with the 55.
I'm off that.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying in general.
I'm off that. I shared what I said. Anybody want to say whatever they want to say in the comments?
No.
whatever.
I'm
They
off
want-
that.
they
I'm
cool.
just saying.
I don't really care. Like, honestly.
Yeah,
But
I'm just
like I
saying.
said, I've done what I do with the brother myself. I was just thanking you for
Oh,
sharing this hotline.
yeah. But I'm saying for people in the chat, I'm not talking to you specifically. The people in the chat, understanding why it was done in such a manner. The reason why it was done in such a manner, because again, none of us up here are opposed to having a conversation with someone that thinks differently or someone that may have questions or whatever the situation might be. And for the example that I'll give, if I get into someone's car and the car is trash, I'm going to acclimate myself to that car being trash, right? I'm going to just jump into the car and it is what it is. But if I get into a car that's all white, immaculately clean, I'm going to acclimate myself to that situation too. So you can't just walk into a room where people are talking about trauma, this, that, and the third, and come and say, yo, man, this is trash. Hold on, G. Chill, because this was said. Chill, my man. Nah, hold on, son. Nah, dogs, chill. Let's reboot for a second. Let's reboot. Because again, you don't know who's holding on. For those that don't need it, that's cool. It ain't for them. But for those that do need it, this is who we talk to. This is who we minister for. Christ ain't coming back for the healed. Let's understand that. If you're healed, he ain't for you. He's coming back for those that need healing. He's coming back for those that need medicine. I know I'm off. I need you. That's who he's coming back for. So this show that she planned for, that she took the time, and I'm speaking on Mo Love, that she took the time to create scriptures, to get this thing and all that. Let's not degrade or disrespect what she's trying to do or what she is doing. Let's either aid or stand to the side like Venus said and let it go. That's the whole point. I don't have a problem with my man voicing his opinion because some people may say, I don't think we need therapy, which is cool. But we're going to do things in decency and order, especially when we're up here talking about getting the brothers and the sisters together and there being a respect for one another. Let's respect one another. And again, that has nothing to do with jokes. We all joke. Freezy placed a very well-placed joke. But then there are things that we do that are disrespectful, and we need to be cognizant of it. That's the only point. I love the brother. You know what I'm saying? But we have to understand, I hate using but because it negates everything prior. However, we have to understand that this is about saving lives, because there could have been one or two people that just tune in. Everything that God deals with is timing. If we haven't realized that yet, I don't know when we are going to realize it. How, you're walking down the street and you heard that one thing that you heard that might have changed you from going down that block or changed the way you thought of a situation. Everything deals with timing. So what if someone would have heard him saying what he is saying and they just said, you know what, he's right, and then self-deletes.
So Bolo, what about this comment? Blue Jay said, some people listening might agree with Ruthless, though. So a rebuttal could help them as well. What are your thoughts?
The problem isn't to him saying what he's saying. The problem is how he's saying it. That's the issue. At the end of the day, we want Christ to stay in this conversation. Okay? Just because he might have a valid point in the aspect of him having a rebut to a situation, if he's doing it disrespectfully, then that's confusion, and Christ doesn't deal with confusion.
Well, let me just say this, Bolo, real quick. Just to start a sentence out with, therapy is trash. You see, now we already know where you're going with that.
That's my point.
Right.
This is not, well, let me just finish real quick. To start the conversation off with that statement, but that's disingenuous, because therapy has been very effective for many. You see what I'm saying? So for you to start with that type of statement, it does seem like you're trying to derail the conversation in some way, regardless whether it's your opinion or not, whether it's trash or not. But read the room. I'm listening to this brother, Brandon Nesbitt, his testimony of how God is bringing him through the situation. You see what I'm saying? Be sensitive to what God is doing and how God is moving. But some of us don't have that type of discernment because we're used to Fight Club and we're used to just cutting in and being rude and being disrespectful. You see what I'm saying? But you'll never have order. Let me just say this and I'll be done. You will never really have order until you enforce it.
And to what Big Vaughn saying, I agree with what you're saying, Blue Jay. It could have been an awesome conversation. It could have been. However, it has to be done in decency and order, right? That's like giving a woman the cure to cancer. Before you do that, you call her the B word. She doesn't hear the cure to cancer right after that. You know what I'm saying? That's like your child coming to you, and you could be completely wrong. And your child say, hey, mom, you a stupid B, and this is such and such. You're going to be like, yo, hold on. Who the hell do you think you're talking to? The hell with the message. We're going to deal with your delivery. So I'm saying that delivery is important to a certain extent, right? If it's a situation where I'm crossing the street and you say, hey, Bolo, get the F out the way, then we understand you're using that kind of terminology. But if we're having conversation where we're sitting here and you say, the hell with therapy, just by you starting that, that's a disingenuous start to a conversation, which means we can't have right, because you're prefacing that there's nothing you can say from that statement that can help me to understand that therapy is needed for those that need it from that statement alone. But I respect what your thought process, and just by you saying it the way you said, we can engage and have that conversation. And it's about having the conversation like Vaughn said. You know what I'm saying? So again, and I'll leave it here. When Christ was talking to Pontius Pilate, there's a reason why he didn't speak to the Pharisees and Sadducees, to the religious folk. There's a reason why he's talking to the man that has the power to have him crucified. And we know it's bigger than that, but just in that moment. Why is it? Because their mind was already made up. There was no reason to have the conversation with the Pharisees and Sadducees when they're already trying to catch him. This is why he didn't talk to him. This is why he spoke to Pontius Pilate, because he was open to conversation. This is why the Lord says, when you find somebody, dust your feet, leave them alone. We have to be able to listen to people speak in their conversation, not to listen all the time to what they're saying, but listen to what they're not saying. That's very important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mo, is it
Can,
okay?
Yeah,
But can I share a scripture?
of course.
I got it in the back. Could you bring it up? And I want to
Yeah.
say, as far as Bolo is concerned, Bolo been doing this for a long time, man. Bolo is very seasoned, and I mean, it was just plain to see Bolo was he went off sheer spiritual impulse. I seen how
Exactly.
Bolo interjected. It was almost like
He was
a
like, mute
reflex.
him now, Mo. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm muting him. He
I'm
keeps
saying,
taking his stuff off.
I think Bolo spoke before he even realized it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So he just been Bolo just been doing this for a long time, and he has a lot of discernment. So
Is
I really
everybody still
do.
here?
What'd you say?
Everybody still here?
Yeah. But I wanted to read this scripture. We're all brothers and sisters in Christ, right? So this scripture right here, I use it a lot on how like, as a measuring stick on how we're supposed to like move with one another or regard one another, right? This is Philippians 2nd chapter
Right.
3-4. It says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourself. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. So
yeah,
that right there basically tells me that I'll stop it. That tells me it's just when we're talking to each other as brothers and sisters in Christ, it just tells me to simply we got to have consideration for one another. You know, so as we talk, we have to, make sure that we include a big ingredient of consideration, for one another. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the way Ruthless came out said, first off, therapy is trash. And, I already knew it was gonna be all
And I
about.
was trying to,
Yeah.
I don't know who was trying to say something. I think it was Bolo. And he was like, no, let me speak. No. I was like, this is already going left. And you have been up here for 5 seconds. We got to get you out. And at first I was like, oh, if I'm honest, I was like, dang, that was kind of rough, But as the show went on, I was like, I'm so glad that Bolo said drop him, because the topic would have went completely left.
And
Something completely different.
Bolo, may I say this, Bolo, before you go? Because I do have to
absolutely, sir. Go ahead, my G.
I gotta go. I don't make this diatribe about this brother because he's no longer here. Let him. He's gone. He's off. I kicked him off. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I do want to make this diatribe about what this is really about, which is mental health and men's mental health, because that's what's most important. You know what I'm saying? That's what we have to really be concerned about. You know what I mean? My perspective was my perspective on what it was. Y'all handle it the way y'all wanted to handle it. It's all good. I handle things the way I want to handle on my panels. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I do believe that one, like I said, Bolo, I wanted to thank you for putting all those numbers up there. I actually took a picture of some of those numbers as well.
That's so good.
And Young Riaz as well. I seen that you said that you were struggling with anxiety. If you look in the private chat, I share my email. You can reach out to me anytime, man. If you're ever feeling anxious or whatever, we can always talk. You know what I mean? That's for anybody. Anybody who wants to email, feel free. You can always talk. We can always chop it up. And if you're ever going through something, whatever, you know what I mean, always reach out. Feel free to reach out. But yeah, y'all, let's really. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's take the mental health seriously, especially for men. Let's create that safe space for each other and for just our community, period. We need more safe spaces. We need more areas where we can really talk freely and talk genuinely. And I definitely appreciate all of you for sharing things transparently and genuinely for how you feel. You know what I mean? Love you guys, and definitely, man, I'm going to have to step down. You know what I mean? I gotta go pick up my wife from work. But love you guys. Peace.
Love you too, brother. And what I was going to say,
Go ahead, brother.
what I was going to say is conversations are important, and we have to be able to, like Freezy said, we have to be able to discern what's for edifying and what's for destroying. Not every conversation is prudent for edifying, right? Although we understand that, the spirit of it would have been good. It would have been good to have the conversation for someone that might be against a therapy. But here's the thing, it would have done more in destroying than it would have done in building. Because again, I don't have conversations to win. We shouldn't have conversations to win, because if someone wins, that means someone loses, and that person that loses, do they really gain what you were trying to make, right? I'm trying to gain my brother and trying to gain my sister, right, into the gospel. I'm not trying to say, hey, I got a notch on my belt, I'm better than you. No, I'm really trying to understand your perspective. However, when you start off with therapy is trash, it's a disingenuous conversation. You're letting me know that you're not having this conversation in love. Absolutely. If you would have said or started it with, hey, check this out, I went through it and it didn't, then cool, we could deal with that. But we have to understand what's going on. There's a bigger picture, like 84 said. There's a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is we are called to do a job. Okay? Each and every one of us on this stage is called to do a job. And we've called and we've answered. And we've answered. And unfortunately, at times, you're going to have to look like the bad guy. All right? The Lord tells you, this is how I want it to be done, in decency and order. I want it done that way. Because if it's not done that way, I'm not there. So everything that you're doing is for nothing. So if someone's coming in here to try and disturb the spirit, you shut it down. Period. This ain't about you. We keep thinking that this is about us. Moses died, Jeremiah died, Ezekiel died, Mary died, Sarah died. All of these people died. But the one thing that stayed constant was Christ's love, God's love. That stays constant. That's what's important. And that's what we need to focus on. God, period. And how he wants it to be done is how we have to do it.
And nobody's harping on. Nobody's harping on Rufus either. I just want to say that.
Good talking, everyone. Thank you, Mola, for having me up. Awesome conversation panel. Everybody have a good evening or good morning now, right?
You too, ADS. Thank you for sharing.
I was gonna say, these panels can be a little tricky because it could seem like we're not. I don't think we're not picking on Ruthless. It's just a teachable moment, right? It's like. It's a teachable moment because
definitely, yeah,
that mentality has plagued especially the urban communities for decades. As far as like therapy is trash. And I remember when I was younger, my dad vehemently spoke against psychiatrists and psychologists and therapists and
my dad too.
Yeah, it's a big stigmatism, you know what I'm saying, in the Black community. It's a very negative stigmatism, and it creates this huge deficit in individuals' lives because we grow up thinking that something is wrong with you if you have to go to therapy or my dad used to call them shrinks and stuff like that. And I was just talking to JT after I ended the live stream. We were just talking about, how we used to pick at people that used to talk to themselves in our old neighborhoods and stuff. How the whole neighborhood used to pick at the people that everybody got that person in their neighborhood or a couple of people that talk to themselves. You know what I'm saying? But we thought that they just, we put that label on them and say, oh, they went crazy or they crazy, But really, as we mature, I'm gonna tell you something. Therapy taught me that was 9 times out of 10, that was schizophrenia. And guess what? Schizophrenia can be treated. So
yes, it can.
A lot of times we ostracize people. We shun people and we label people and we stereotype people, and it causes shame and embarrassment and stuff. And it comes from that rhetoric that therapy is trash and something wrong with you if you need this and you need that, and then people be afraid to reach out for help. People be afraid of being judged. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. Like, we gotta eliminate that stigmatism, because the youth, it could be a repeat cycle. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right, Freezy. I think you're 100% on that.
Yeah,
let
my
me just
dad
say
is
this real quick,
against
if I
therapy.
could. Can I just say this real quick?
Okay.
Yeah, the Bible teaches us also that, a wise man, it is a wise man that would seek counsel. So counseling is something that we should go after if we are found or caught in a dilemma somehow. You see what I'm saying? But now finding a good therapist, that's a job within itself. That's just like trying to find a good church. If you're not growing and if it's not edifying and if you don't see progress, then perhaps you should move on to the next. You see what I'm saying? So every therapist doesn't necessarily fit each individual person. Some therapists are more beneficial to others than other therapists. You see. So, don't rule it out that, possibly maybe the particular therapist that you've gone through, it's just not a good fit. And sometimes it's not a good fit. You see what I'm saying? But then you have the spiritual counseling as well, from those who are in pastoral positions. Now, they're not clinicians. You see what I'm saying? They're not legal therapists, but under the unction of God's Spirit, God gives them information to encourage and lift and edify. So, help comes from different places. You see what I'm saying? But I definitely would not rule out therapy, because too many have overcome through that process. And I digress there.
I agree. Thank you so much, Juan. Hey, Venus, did you want to add to what was being said?
Hey y'all. Yeah, a couple of things. Oh my God, my mind just went blank. I'm sorry. Okay. So the thing with Ruthless, right? It reminded me of like when I look at Black people, particularly as a group, and when it comes to certain things, how we're like behind, right? And I know there's a multitude of reasons for that, but one of the reasons I feel he just kind of displayed, which is a lot of our own people want to advise others through ignorance, right? So what he represents is like a family member that a lot of us have. And in some families, that family member is the voice of reason. That family member has the highest level of influence. So because that family member said it, it must be true. So I'm going to take advice from that family member, even though they don't understand anything about the thing that they're telling you not to do that could actually help you. And
Hey,
so,
Venus,
yeah.
do you know what an ad populum fallacy is?
Mm-mm.
An ad populum fallacy is a fallacy in which with a lot of people say something, so they just run off and take it as verbatim. It kind of goes into in with the argument for incredulity. So that's one thing that is actually a flaw in logic, and it's one of the classical, I would say, top 10 logical fallacies, and that's something that can really hinder our intellectual aptitude, and it hinders us from being astute intellectually. So
Oh
I
my
think it's
God. I'm sorry. I love that you said that, right? Hinders
yeah,
us from being astute intellectually,
right,
because Black people are looked at as what? Not
a monolith.
intelligent. right?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
smart. And then when you look at, for example, this type of reasoning and logic, you can't be mad at somebody coming to that conclusion because it
That's
is
exactly
very
right.
ignorant. Like, how do you not know something? Because we see this on panels all the time, and I think it's a cultural problem. How do you admittedly not have any experience with a thing, not have done any research on a thing, but assign yourself the expert who wants to give advice on the thing?
Right.
And then you get up and you say a whole bunch of nonsense. And then there's other people who are just as, they don't know either. So they're listening to you, and you're just influencing and affecting a whole community of people who maybe don't have guidance, don't have the understanding, don't have the discernment, but you might have some level of influence. Now you spreading that ignorance all around.
It's ad populum.
It
Ad populum
literally that's it.
fallacy.
So when it's like, oh, black people have low IQs and black people are unintelligent, but then it's like when there's so many of them doing that and then teaching that to, like, that's learned behavior. Rufus ain't
Exactly.
the first. Rufus ain't the first person in his family to think like that. I promise he's
Well,
not.
well, let me tell you one of the things that I learned in therapy. This, you know, some, one of the things I learned in therapy after a 4-hour test was that I had the same Asperger's that Elon Musk does. So that, as a consequence, I'm, very high on the intellectual scale. So, but, not the best socially. So, it's, it's education is, listen, education is the key to your chains of slavery. I mean, think about that. Like, we got our limbs ripped from our bodies. Our eyes actually, no, it's actually documented. Our eyes were actually staked to wooden trees when we were trying to read as slaves during the, even antebellum slavery. I mean, just, and before that, just basic chattel slavery during the transatlantic slave trade. That's how much they didn't want us to read and become educated. And, I'm not going to say that the government's still trying to do that today, but I don't want to get
They
on any
are.
kind of,
They are.
I don't want to get on that. But, it's like that's the basic problem for ad populum fallacies and arguments from incredulity. And we got to stop that. We got to stop that. Like, we got to stop that. We got to stop this ignorance. If 75% of Americans are saying that therapy helps them, then guess what? If you disagree, then you're with the 25% that you're a statistical anomaly. And it takes 95% to negate a statistical anomaly.
And I agree with you. And the other thing was, so back to that real quick. I think we need to start qualifying people. I'm just saying, like, if you really are gonna listen to them, especially about something so serious, and I'm speaking more like on a personal level. Like I said, he represents somebody in everybody's family. Sometimes we gotta look at our family members too, and as much as we love them and admire them, when it comes to certain topics, they just might not be the person to listen to, and that's okay. Doesn't make them
Dang, I'm
less
glad you said that.
valuable. Like, it doesn't make them less valuable, but just understanding, like, everybody's not an expert in everything.
Okay, so do you
And
know anything about these in psychology? Do you know anything about the 7 agents of socialization?
no.
Okay, in the psychology, your main social agents of your agents of socialization. One is your parents and your nuclear family. So your nuclear family is the main provocateur of the education that you'll receive, and from then you'll incur all the knowledge and all of the necessary life skills. And so basically they're going to frame your mindset toward a certain way of thinking. So one of the things we got to do is filter out what's true and what's not, and that's called critical thinking. aka the scientific method, which is why I'm a huge believer in science. So yeah, we just basically got to look at what we got to be able to filter out what's true and what ain't true. Everybody got their opinions, but it's that don't mean it's true or not. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
Wait,
Mr.
and Mo,
Brandon.
one last thing I want to say,
Okay.
Mo. I just wanted to give you reassurance, like, because you said you felt bad, and I get it. I don't think Ruthless is a bad person. I just think that Bolo had spiritual discernment,
Yeah.
and to the naked eye, it looks like you're doing too much because they can't see what you see. You know what I mean? But I wanted to say, like, you shouldn't feel bad about having dominion over your thing, right? Like, you have a very clear, specific intention on what message you wanted to send today. And there's nothing wrong with like doing what you need to do to keep things on track. So I just don't think you should feel
Thank
bad.
you.
Dude, this is helping me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, if there's anybody out there that's
Praise God.
hearing this message and decide not to slit their wrist open,
Exactly.
God be with you. But this is helping me. I'm like, I was having a little slip up this week. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was pondering, like, oh man, this is annoying. What if I just wasn't here? I mean, I got a whole bunch of pills over there. And then I was like, nah. I mean, this is helping me. This is solidifying my walk with God too. I mean, I'm not the
I'm
biggest
so
church
happy
goer.
to hear that.
And you know what? You
Yeah.
know what? Listen, it's the strength of the Lord that's made perfect in our weaknesses. You see what I'm saying? At our weakest moment, you see, that's when the strength of the Lord comes in. When the enemy comes in like a flood, God said that he will lift up a standard against him. You see? And so definitely we are struggling. My heart and my prayers go out to those who are in this situation with these struggles with mental illness or mental health. You see what I'm saying? So many of us suffer in silence, with anxiety. Anxiety could just about take you up out of here. With all of the paranoia and all of the fear that comes along with it and the paranoia. You see what I'm saying? But God didn't give us the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. So he's able to keep us at perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on him. And so therapy, yes, therapy, yes, therapy, yes. But then God, yes, God, yes, God, yes. We have to continue to seek the face of God through prayer along with the therapy. The Bible says first natural, then spiritual. You see what I'm saying? We're not just dealing in a spiritual realm, but we're dealing naturally on this earth. You see what I'm saying? If I cut my toe, then I need to put a Band-Aid on it. That's the natural aspect of it. You see what I'm saying? So first natural, then spiritual. So definitely my prayers are going up tonight. I really appreciate this conversation because it's a very crucial one. And we really need to be sensitive. We need to be sensitive to it. You see what I'm saying? Because what may not work for you, those who had comments in the chat and just getting on the panel, what may not work for you, don't rule it out for working for other people. If anything, try to get up here and have an encouraging word. Hey, therapy may not have worked for me, but guess what? Trust God, because maybe he'll open that door up where it can be effective in your life.
Am I the only one who feels like that's not needed? I ain't gonna lie.
What?
Like when y'all say, like just what he said, like, okay, if it may not work for you, but come up here and give an encouraging word. Like, I'm more of a fan of stay out the way. Like,
Yeah,
sometimes you're not
I agree
needed.
with
You know what I'm saying?
that
Like,
too.
especially if you just don't
Yeah,
agree, we don't
yeah.
need you disrupting anything with
You know
your.
what? I
You know what I'm saying?
definitely
Like,
agree with that.
why?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said. You see what I'm saying? I don't believe that we should allow anyone, especially with a conversation like this, to get up and derail it. So that's why I was very impressed by the decorum of the panel to you see what I'm saying? Rebuke that. which we don't see that quite often on a lot of panels. You know, a lot of people just let the panelists run rampant, whether they're just, I remember there was a panel, I can't remember who it was talking to Mo Love, but they cursed her so until I couldn't understand why. And
Oh,
she kept
that's
coming
Jay
back.
Friend. He do that
Yeah,
all.
she kept
Yeah.
coming, exactly. She kept coming back and saying, well, I don't understand why you're talking to me like this. You see what I'm saying? And so people feel like they have the right to just disrespect people. And you don't have the right. You see what I'm saying? Treat others as you would like to be treated. So I digress with that, but Mo Love, I may have to drop in a little while, but thank you for having me up here. I appreciate everybody's
Of
comments on the
course.
panel tonight, man. This has been very uplifting to me, and I hope that it has helped someone who's listening, because that's what's important, are the people that are listening. Thank you.
Wait, Mo. Sorry, one
Thank you,
last thing.
Vaughn.
You just reminded me
Vaughn.
of. Thank you, Vaughn. I'm sorry. I just want to be mindful that Brandon did get interrupted, and he might have more that he needs to get off his chest, and we should make room for that. But I did want to say real quick too. He just
Oh,
reminded me of something. Um, People who are giving pushback about what just happened, and this could be a reach, y'all let me know. But I feel like everyone up here is a believer, right? And believers tend to understand authority a little bit better, right?
right. I agree.
So that might have something to do with, right? Because to certain types of people, I'm not saying that, I don't know, but the pushback is like you're supposed to give everybody the freedom to do whatever they want, and we
Right.
understand that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
So
They want to
Yeah.
say, I thought she loved God. They use whatever way they can, They always throw that in there when you are holding somebody accountable or when you check people.
Well,
Yeah,
But they love
The
Phoenix.
thing is, you can
in time.
always you can control it in the way of this. Even if you okay, first of all, you already knew him coming up, and you were kind of like, okay, what is this going to be? And even if like Ruth is true, this is what's happening tonight. If you're going to contribute, then fine, let's be respectful. If not, then I probably can't allow you to speak. And then that gives him the option, in the way so that he can say, okay, I got to tone it down, because that gives him at least that choice of, being obedient or being disobedient, and things like that. But there's definitely an important aspect of what he was saying of
Yeah.
therapy, me being I don't say the devil.
we
I think
lost.
she went out.
Hey, chocolate.
But until she comes back in, I just want to say one. Brandon, are you done?
Well, now I got one more thing to add,
Go
and
ahead, Brandon.
I'm gonna go to bed. We gotta okay, first of all, at Venus, you're absolutely correct. Christian people and people of faith do recognize authority marginally better than their other cohorts, and that studies confirmed by
Sorry,
universities
my
like
jacket
Harvard.
thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, I was
Yeah.
just saying there was Tia, right? Tia Tamari. She was going to a lot of therapy that drove her away from her husband. And that was not wise. So any man that tried to put that marriage asunder should be definitely discounted. You should end it immediately. So there is some things about therapy that we have to observe as well, that going into it, like Bond said, we have to vet to see if this person has the qualifications to help me, or maybe I need to seek a Christian therapist, or maybe I need to seek a male therapist as opposed to a female therapist. So there's different aspects of getting that treatment, and I definitely totally agree. And I like what Mr. Brandon was also saying about what was it, the 7 what?
The 7 agents of socialization.
Yes, and so like even in that, I'm like, yes, this is good because even when he was just talking about the family, the enemy has hijacked these avenues of socialization, and we see it all in our society.
I didn't think about
So
that. That's
it,
good.
and you didn't even have to go further in SSD. The enemy done hijacked all of that. He hijacked the family. He hijacked whatever the schools or
Definitely
education
the
or
church.
religion, and a lot of things that he has infiltrated in on the back end, and hiding in his sheep clothing, and he's running amok, and we are attributing it to a physical thing, but it really is a spiritual thing. And I just love how you said that, even though you didn't even go all into it, and I just got it instantly. I said, "Yep, those avenues have been hijacked because of of our impressionism, right? And especially as a child, and those first formative years of that impressionism is so important. That's why when we go to therapy when we're adults, we always have to go back and retrace our steps to our
Yeah.
youth when we were young. Yeah.
Have you heard of Jean-Claude Piaget? He was a scientist from 1848. He has the he had pioneered the model for neurological development in the during the stages of human life.
No, but it sounds good.
Yeah, study that. That's good. But I'm gonna end with this before I go to bed and watch some anime. Um, 6,000 black men will kill themselves this year. 30,000, and I said 30,000 white men will kill themselves this year. Every year without skipping a beat has happened historically since about 1970. These panels right now that Mo Love is having is more important than you could ever imagine, because there's people like me and the people I was in the hospital with. We don't have these resources. They don't know what to do. They're sitting, this is help. I guarantee you this is helping somebody right now. This is touching lives. And like, I'm just astonished by the intellectualism on this panel, and the love and, just genuine concern for another person's life, especially like mine. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a southern guy and in South Carolina,
Brandon,
chilling and kicking it, and
Brandon,
yeah,
would you like to come to our Bible study? I think it would be helpful for
Oh, you
you.
should.
yeah. I guess I backslide like Michael Jackson with silk socks on the marble floor, but I'll try to make it down there.
No, Brandon, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Brandon, you're so funny.
Are you you need the Discord. You need a link to the Discord. Have you joined the Discord?
No, I think I will though.
Yeah, join the Discord, and then we can message you. Venus can message you, Mo Love can message, everybody can message you, and you can message back, and we can get you hooked up with Bible study, man.
And
Okay,
I'm only
that
saying that
sounds good.
because it's not a requirement for you to be perfect, but I think
Yeah.
the type of community that you're saying you appreciate here is what
Yeah.
Freezy has in his Discord Bible study every Saturday.
Aw,
So
thank
you
you,
would really
Venus.
like that environment.
Well, yeah, my patient advocate, she makes me be social. So, I'm more reclusive by nature of being, having mild autism and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that would be a benefactor to my, intellectual growth and my psyche.
I
You're
think so
doing an
too.
excellent job, love. My son is autistic, and and he's on the Asperger side, and he's just so smart, and he's just come up and evolved. And like when I interact with people that have it, it gives me hope because I'm like, wow, you just know all these words and who've you read, and because one day I'm gonna have to leave this earth and leave my son behind. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I hope that, he can have all the things he needs. And so you give me that hope even more. And just how intellectual you are and how well you're governing yourself in the conversation. and you're awesome.
Yeah,
Hey,
you are
I
very
appreciate it.
smart. Like very
Brandon,
smart.
Great job.
Brandon, the link is in the chat. Shout out to Here for the Tea. She put the link in the chat, Brandon. So just click that
Yeah.
link and join.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man. And if there's anything y'all need, y'all hit me up. I'm available 24/7. So
So
hit me up.
Saturday, 3 p.m. You gotta be there, okay? I'll be looking
Saturday
for
at 3
you.
p.m.
Eastern time. Yep. We
All
start around
right.
that time.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all, man. Y'all take it easy, and God bless every single soul on here.
God bless you too, Brandon.
Too,
All
Brandon.
right. We'll see y'all.
Peace, brother.
And this is something that's important that we need to know too. When you're going through these different changes, you have to be situationally aware yourself.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the times people take medications and they feel weird and they start feeling different things and they keep it to themselves. You need to be able to have conversations with your doctor or your therapist. If you feel that the way that they're going is not working for you, you need to communicate this. You can't just allow yourself to continue going down that road and then not take some type of accountability and responsibility for what you're allowing to happen to you internally, externally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Right?
Yeah,
Because at the end of the
and some
day-
of those medications, Bolo, are definitely they have side effects. You see what I'm saying?
They all do.
And a lot of people, listen, a lot of people will shy away from even using the medications because of the side effects. You see? But
the
you
end of
know,
the day,
with that
salvation-
chemical imbalance, that whole chemical imbalance thing, you know, you really have to go to someone that is very skilled in that field. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know,
And
at the
my
end of
sister just said you
salvation,
have to be careful with your therapist. Will you want to be equally yoked with your therapist, because some of them do practice witchcraft.
Well, see, now there you go. That's right. So, I mean, that's an aspect of it, you know.
remember, salvation is personal, man. Salvation is personal. And the scriptures tell you that only one person can get at a time. So no man, no woman can save you but you.
Exactly.
Right.
So
I
you
was gonna say earlier, like when I first came up here, I was saying that we live in a cold world. Like this world we live in is cold. And
Yes,
I
it
think I felt that coming off of Ruthless, his tone, you know what I'm saying? Like you could tell it's just cold, like, and he was like, yeah, therapy is trash. But I think what we have to like, I'm gonna tell you, maybe I'm doing too much when I say this, but this space that we've been in these past few years, everybody think when just because it's a panel, it's a debate. Like,
oh my
like
god.
listen, they think like this is not a debate about mental. We was not debating mental health. This is not a debate.
No,
And
it
so
wasn't.
there's not a debate. And so I knew where he was going. He wanted to debate therapy trash, challenge me on that. No, we ain't finna challenge nothing.
Right.
And then I'm sorry, but and then another thing is like when he, like man, I lost my train of thought. I'm getting old, man. But so yeah, I just felt like it was he was in debate mode, right? And everything is not a debate. Oh, this is what I was finna say. Think about what took place before he spoke, right?
What
Like
exactly?
a lot of people was vulnerable, right?
Oh yeah.
Brandon shared a lot of his vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Right. Smitty shared some stuff. Mr. Best in the World shared some stuff. I shared like we got people up here vulnerable. You know,
I
just
think that bothers him because 2 weeks ago I had a moment, and I was very serious. Oh, who is it? Is it the Vader guy? The other guy that was up here. And I started to read, I think it was Psalm 37. And that scripture touched me and I got emotional. And I'm thinking he coming up here to talk about the word. And he was like,
I'm sorry.
he don't say who up here crying. I said, I could die.
And
he
here's
just don't care.
I remember that.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Why
Here's
y'all let him
the point,
up
Freezy.
here?
Freezy. Here's a
Yeah,
point.
go
You
ahead, Bolo.
have a bunch of men being vulnerable.
Right.
That's
Mhm.
the
And
point.
that's not often.
Yeah. just stay right there, Bolo. That's what I'm like. Okay, right. So that doesn't happen a lot, right? It doesn't happen a lot. So this man was finna come in and single-handedly just tell all of that good stuff down. And Bolo, you was right, man. You saved us, Bolo. I'm sorry, because damn, Bolo, you saved us, man. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Because it was just like I seen it happening. I seen it happening, you know, because people was very fragile and vulnerable at that, you know, and then once he would have said that, I'm telling you, somebody like me would have been like, see, this why I don't even like to talk and say what's on my mind, because this why I stay quiet. This why I stay quiet. I don't want to talk. You done put so much doubt in my mind. I don't even want to do this no more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just wanted to say that. I'm just rambling now, but
but that's what the Lord says. A little leaven destroys the